Learning independent clauses in 6 minutes. What are independent clauses? Clauses contains a subject and a predicate. For example, Mary has an umbrella. Mary is a subject, while has an umbrella is a predicate. Independent clauses can stand alone as a sentence. Now, let us take a look at the 4 structural types of independent clauses.
First of all, let us look at declarative clause. Declarative clause is a statement that tells us something. Readers will acquire specific information such as facts or opinions of a particular topic. Declarative clause usually follows the regular order of constituents, which is subject, verb, and object if it's present. There is always a full stop at the end of the clause. Let us look at some example. He loves spaghetti. This is a statement which conveys information of the subject. Besides, declarative clause may function to ask and answer question. For example, so, this is the way to the mall? This question retains its declarative force of the statement. Basically, the main purpose is to reassure the truth of the statement. Yes, it is. This utterance is a declarative statement as a response to the question.
Next, we will talk about interrogative clauses. Interrogative clauses are usually used to ask questions. There are 3 main types of interrogative clauses. Closed interrogative clause. It is often simply answered in yes or no. For example, do you want to go on a date? The answer is either yes or no. Open interrogative clause. It is formed with WH words such as when, where, how, and more. Example, where are you going? I'm going to the park and then to the beach. The person is not limited to yes, no, and has a wider range of answers. Alternative interrogative clause. Alternative questions are questions which requires answers from the option given in the question. Example, shall I buy you a cup of coffee or tea? A cup of coffee, please. Well, the person can only choose between the options given in the question. Now, let's talk about imperative clauses. Imperative clauses are used to tell someone to do something or not to do something. It can be used to give suggestions, advice, commands, requests, orders, instructions, or invitation. Example of an order. John, go to the store and buy some milk for the cat. Example of an advice. The best way to predict your future is to create it, said by Abraham Lincoln. Example of a command. Shut the back door. Don't run. Tag question. Will you please help me to fix this? Will you? Remember that usually imperatives do not have a subject. The second person you who is receiving the request is the implied subject.
Exclamative clause usually begin with WH word, for example, what or how. Exclamative clause represent one of the clause type of English, and it used to express exclamatory elements. One of the example for exclamative clause is what a beautiful day it is. Do note that exclamative clause can exist in different forms. For example, when the subject auxiliary word inverse, when the subject is postponed, and it can also be subordinated like declarative and interrogative clauses. Do note that exclamatives typically do not serve to advance a discourse informationally, but rather to express the speaker's affective stance or attitude. Structurally, it is similar to WH interrogative. However, they differ in that the only WH item allowed in exclamative are those which can express degree, namely how and what, whereas there are no restriction on the WH word allowed in WH interrogative. Thank you.
Now that you know what an independent clause is, let's talk a little bit about the rules of comma placement and coordinating conjunction when it comes to combining independent clauses. The rule is you must use a comma before the word and that links to independent clauses. If the word and links to independent clauses, you must precede it with a comma. This rule also applies to other coordinating conjunctions such as but, or. To put it in another way, the rule is you must use a comma before a conjunction that joins an independent clause in a compound sentence. Let's look at some examples. Yesterday is dead and tomorrow hasn't arrived yet. As you can see, this quotation has two compound sentences, and in each one of them, there is two independent clauses that is joined with the word and with a comma preceding it. Another example. I have a mind to join a club and beat you over the head with it. As you can see in the sentence, there is no comma before the word and beat you over the head with it because it is not an independent clauses. The whole sentence is actually a simple sentence, which is one independent clause with one subject.
Today we learned independent clauses has a subject and a predicate. It can stand alone. We also learned 4 types of independent clauses: declarative clause, interrogative clause, imperative clause, exclamative clause. As a bonus, we also learned about coordination. That's the end. Thank you.